Hi everyone, my name is Divya and I'd just like to take some time to share with you some tips on how you can maximize learning during this period or any other period in the future. So let's jump in. Now first up, there may be several reasons why you or another person would seek to be learning at any time in your life. For some, it's fun learning or casual learning, and for others, you may want to be pursuing intentional formal learning in a particular area. Now, where do you start? There's so many options available to us in 2020. Look at this. I did a general Google search for free online courses available during this time, and it popped me up 2.6 billion search results. Can you imagine that? You don't want to start there. If you end up with search results like that, your reaction is probably going to be like, oh my goodness, I can't do this. Where do I start? So here's some tips that I hope will help you. Now, I want to encourage you to go back to your basics. And there are two basics that I want to highlight. Firstly, especially for the believer, you are going to hit your knees in prayer. Seek your Father's face. You pray before, during, and after your attempts to make a decision. And of course, we don't want to lean on our own understanding. Your Father knows your end, and also the best way to get to the end. So therefore, you want to seek His face. The second basic is your elements. Go back to your basic critical thinking and problem solving elements. Your 5 W's and 1 H. Do you remember what those are? Well, they are your who, what, when, where, why, and how. Those questions that you ask when you are doing problem solving. The first one you will answer, of course, is your easiest. Who? Who is the learner? And what are his or her inclinations, tendencies, learning styles, and so on. We could assume that you did the learner, but then there are also some other possibilities. But you have to determine who the learner is in order to ascertain what is best for them. After your who, you're going to progress to your why. Now, your why is critical. Your why is your goal-setting step. And what it does is that it paints the picture of the end. What's the end picture that you have in mind? What do you hope to achieve from pursuing further learning? So you're at one spot here and you want to get to this spot. How do you get from A to B? When you have your end goal in mind and you work your way from the beginning to the end, you're able to set up street lights, as it were, in order to help make your decision clearer to get to your end goal. Now, after you've done your who and your why, your what, when, where would be much easier to fill in. And then you progress to your how. And this is where most persons will spend a lot of time, because this is where you have to consider the details. Now, I would advise that all the courses and institutions that you look at, you create a chart, a comparison chart, where you will compare things like the mode of delivery. Is this course being delivered by face-to-face instruction? Is it online? Is it traditional methods are being used, and so on. Reviews, please. It's 2020. There are tons of reviews on everything online. Please check your reviews. There's no need to jump in blindly, not knowing what the course would be like. Of course, you're going to weigh your budget against the cost and the content. Very importantly, that's why it's important to have your end goal in mind. Is the content going to take you to where you want to get to? Instructor feedback, critical, especially if this is a course where you'd have to submit assignments and so on. What type of feedback are you to expect and how regularly? And then your access to resources. Again, if you have assignments to complete, do you have the necessary resources at hand or access to them in order for you to complete your work efficiently and effectively? Now, a lot of persons would choose to study online. It has been so for a while and it would continue to be so. Now, when you're studying online, there's several things that you need to consider. For example, if you are a full-time worker, you would have to consider, okay, am I going to be able to fulfill my obligations on my job? What about your church? Now, a lot of persons don't think about this, but is further studies or online studies going to cause me to shrunk my service to God? And if so, I need to weigh the cost. What about your family? Extremely critical. And in family, you consider your obligations to your spouse, your children in particular. And then when it comes to children, you have to know what children you have and, how you have to weigh it. Would you be able to work and care for your children? Particularly, if you have children who would behave like this, for example, maybe it's okay for you to work and study with them, just reading along. But if you have children who might behave like this while you're trying to study, then that's a different consideration. All right, so you must know your obligations, your resources. Do you have the technical setup that would allow you to do online studies? Do you have storage space? Do you have access to the software? Your future, again, that's end goal, and your master. What is God saying to you in this entire process? Now, there are some sites that I go to when I want to personally further my knowledge and education in different areas. This site, Class Central, it's really cool. It has a collection of free online courses that are being offered from universities all over the world. Udemy and Coursera, they have become really popular and they're accessed by tons of people who just want to top up their knowledge in so many different areas. And then edX. edX actually offers accredited university courses online, so you can check them out. Now, I hope that I've shared with you some useful tips on how you can maximize learning. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact us at any of the bits of information given. And also check out our Facebook page. We have some more tips on how to work effectively at home and how to be productive from home.